Welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. You are listening to The Big Show, the main show. This is not your favorite podcast, March to Match Day, but I see why you are confused. Just like sometimes when you look out onto the pitch and go, why? What are we doing? That feeling has found you here, even though you are in your safe haven, the place you find refuge against the woes of TQL Stadium. Tonight, I am not just joined by one co-host, but a whole team of people that I usually pretend do not exist. But alas, today, I need those voices, as I have yet to perfect the 1-hour monologue. Funny joke, you say. Where is the booming voice of Mr. Nick Suberling? Well, my friends, he is moving from one part of depressing Toledo, Ohio, to another, likely colder, depressing part of Toledo, Ohio, but with a cooler house. So he gets the night off. First up, just so people wonder if this really is the right show, Mr. Brad Weigel, welcome in.
What's going on, Razzle Dazzle? I feel like we've been promoted to the big leagues up here now.
That's right. They made a terrible mistake.
Terrible mistake. Who would allow this to happen?
This is like March to Match Day on the main show with Bill and Ken thrown in.
Well, I'm trying to do this editing behind the scenes. I don't know how Mr. Suberling does it. It's tough to fill his big shoes, but I think it will at least be much funnier and entertaining.
That's right. If the live show is slightly worse for quality, it is because for the first time ever, Brad Weigel was manipulating the slides, and we have zero experience doing this, so you are at the mercy of myself and Brad.
Like next up, first time you ever do anything, Boston, it's just not quite right, you know?
That's right.
I'm sure Connor will back that up.
You've seen him in the Bailey. You have heard Subes give him special treatment over the other podcasters with his own soundbite. Mr. Bill Wolf, welcome back on the big show.
Oh, man. Yeah, we normally try to ignore you and pretend you don't exist as well, Boston.
I could tell by the amount of time it takes me to get back on this show.
Exactly.
You know, I know all of us have to take our turns, Bill, but I noticed that you get 2 to 3 more visits on the show than I do.
You never invite me on the March to Match Day, so, I have to get my time somewhere.
Well, you know what? Just like Yopstom, it's tough getting in the game.
It is.
I bought tickets with our next host before the season, and it is now August. We have only seen each other one time, and it was this very last match, July 31st. It took us that long to sit together. Ken Hedger, are you dodging me at TQL Stadium?
I'm doing my best. I won't be there next Saturday either. So, hey, I'm just glad to be here with the C team. We bring the C and CST, and hopefully we can get it done like the USA did last night. C squad, B squad, A squad. Who cares? We got Boston turning the knobs. Hopefully we can produce a goal out of this. So I'm happy to be on the show. So
that's right.
Are you demanding better?
Am I what?
Demanding better?
I'm always demanding better, but I keep that on the low down a little bit recently.
If we win this weekend, Soups may never be let back onto the main show. We just might turn this into our thing, Boston.
I already can see the reviews pouring in saying, please never change the show back the way it is. But like the U.S. men, we are here to perform. And up first, Mr. Brad, I'm going to ask you your best and your worst this weekend, keeping with Nick Suberling tradition.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to start with my worst, and I think it's the inability to score. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about FC Cincinnati going up a man due to the DC red card. But just I was watching the post-game interviews, and Yuya Kubo really said it best to me. He just said that the team did not stick together. And he says some players continue to try to play it short. You know, when they bring in a big guy like Brandon Vasquez, Kubo's like, cross the ball, let him cross it coming from width, let him get some headers on it. Yet he says we continue to play short, and the team just is not sticking together. So I think that's my worst. And I think while Kubo, was trying to be nice and forthright as he could, I think it was a bit damning to the team and maybe to the coaching staff. On the best side, I have to say it's the CST spy network coming into action for us once again. We had some listeners and even actually a family member of the CST staff on a flight. I want to say it was over to Amsterdam, and they ended up running into Tom Pedersen himself, who, congratulations to Tom. He's left FC Cincinnati to play for I want to say it's Lillestrøm in Norway. Sorry if I butcher that, but just congrats to the CST Spy Network.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. When you guys shot that over, I was like, sometimes things fall in your lap, and that's a perfect example of awesome fans dropping something in our lap so that we can put it out for the rest of FCC fandom. Pretty cool. Bill Wolf, I've always wondered this. When you're playing the drums in the Bailey, this is totally off topic, but when you're playing the drums in the Bailey, how well do you actually keep up with what's going on? Because I feel like you're also keeping a beat, watching capos, listening. Is it like you have to go home and rewatch the game?
Yeah, but you can't do that with a stream anymore, right? I mean, they kind of like don't allow you to rewatch it, which is a real, well, let's just leave it there because you guys don't want to bleep anything out.
That's right.
But
it was a one-edit show.
Yeah, one edit show. We're not going to have any bleeps. No, it's really annoying that you can't rewatch. I know there's probably ways to do it, but I haven't figured it out since they changed to the whole Kroger thing. Maybe that should be my worst. But anyway, no, it is tough. It is really tough to watch the game. You kind of have your head on a swivel in a lot of directions that you're trying to watch for hand signals for end of chance, and you're trying to make sure everybody's in time together and keeping up, and then watch the game at the same time. Sometimes I forget to play the drum. I'm just playing along and I start watching the game and I'll realize my sticks are, not moving or whatever. So, I'm sure they get irritated with me sometimes, but yeah, I tend to get distracted by the game at times because I'm trying to watch it, which is great because at least now we can face forward with the new drum platform. So yay, TQL. So,
there you go.
Anyway, but yeah, keeping up here so we don't run all night. My worst, similar to Brad in the sense of just opportunity lost or whatever. But, this was a huge opportunity to win another game. I mean, we've had so many games that we have, gone up or played teams that were decimated. In this case, DC was missing like 4 starters. Both their DPs were out. We were fully rostered in the sense that we had back all of our players from Costa Rica, and we had them down a man for most of the game too at the very end. And we still couldn't capitalize on that. So, here we come again, another game at TQL that we have not won. We've never won at TQL, which is frustrating. And, honestly, the last something like 4 matches, I think were all winnable games during this period of time, with the Gold Cup going on. And we didn't take advantage of any of it. It's kind of tragic because now we're going to be playing in essence better teams for the rest of the season, and our opportunity to gain some points and try to hold a position at the middle bottom of the table was kind of over. So anyway, we'll see how the rest of the season goes. Hopefully we can improve. Maybe in the next 2 days we'll get a signing or something. Anyway, best for me, sticking to Brad's. Not really having much good to say about the team. I thought the blue lights that they were playing with were kind of cool. The stadium is, trying new stuff, and the experience there is improving, and, it's not going to be a linear progression, but, it was pretty neat. And I think for them to try stuff like that and have different colors that they can try, and some of the sort of, glow in the dark sort of feel for some of the orange shirts that were out there, a lot of people were jazzing on. So yeah, cool. Fun stuff. Blue lights.
I'll put this comment up for you. We got a YouTube comment. Seemed like the Drummers were very distracted Saturday, just like many of the players in the field, Bill. So you have some critics out there. They notice when your sticks are not moving perfectly.
Yeah.
Just starting it, Bjorn in Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. I think that's a little inside.
I
think that's some inside banter there. But Ken, you're next up in the hot seat, man. Best and worst. Actually, give me your best first, because Bill started with the worst. I felt like that decreased the mood of the show.
Well, I'm going to go along with the same thing that Bill actually said, but along with the stadium aspect of, I thought the best, and I say the best. It's terrible to say this is best. I just love the player announcements this last game, because you could finally hear everybody cheer and not hear rock and roll music and something else going on. So good move by the club. Kudos. Love the blue lights as well. So yes, that should never be my best, but that's the best I could find. I think the worst sticks along with everything that we're going to say right now is it's sort of demoralizing when you feel like you're not going to come out with a goal. Sort of, how do I word this? Low expectations, I guess, is sort of, on offense. So that's the worst. And for them to meet that low expectation, like I don't expect anything higher than what we just got, sort of. And I say don't expect. I demand better, but I just don't expect it to occur right now because we're a little lost offensively, a lot lost offensively. I feel so. We'll get into it, I'm sure.
What do you got, Boston?
Yeah, you guys have hit a lot of the talking points. My best is going to be that I found a new entrance to the stadium. Going in under the stairs. I'm pumped. Didn't know it was there. Kind of stumbled upon it because I literally am walking to the stadium and I go, where are all those people going? And I just walk in with them. Presto, I'm already in the stadium. I don't have to wait in any long lines. Amazing. And
is this a humble brag of you just saying that you can walk straight into the club level seats, Boston? Like the rich guy seats
I'm not even 100% sure if that's what I did, to be honest with you.
No, he's saying that he's a lemming, that he just followed the crowd.
Oh, okay.
That is exactly what I did. I could have walked through the pitch view club seats and not known it, or been in the suite section and not known it.
What he's not telling you is he ended up in Carl Lindner's suite and didn't realize it. So he's like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah, I was there for the free food. Worst, shoot, man. You know what? The worst thing about losing, aside from walking away down points, and we didn't lose, we tied, but it kind of felt like a loss, being up 2 men at the end there. The worst thing, in my opinion, really is the fact that I do this regularly. Get on Twitter and try to find something to blame, because it's like old man yells at sky. Like we can't actually physically fix anything because we're just fans, and independently on our own, our voice doesn't matter. I believe collectively it does have a voice, and there are a lot of people, organizing supporter groups and everything, that they have missions and pushing for change. That's awesome. But man, we can devour each other as fans. Holy cow. Like I've seen some serious FCC on FCC heat the last couple of weeks, and that I don't actually blame anybody or take any fault with it, because I really just believe it is a symptom of losing. And if you are a winning team like we were back in the day, you guys remember it, then you're happy. Those small dumb things that happen are easily washed under the rug, like a Tommy G mishap on the radio. Washed under the rug, because who cares? You're winning, you're happy. So, we just cannibalize each other because we need to yell at somebody, honestly. And man, that's a key way to go into our next segment. Except Subs is gonna make me announce our tremendous supporters, and he should, because they support our show. But you're dealing with Boston here, and I don't like holdback. So, here we go. It's that time of show where we give a big shout out and thanks to our tremendous supporters: Tim Bronsel, Mount Adamchek, Mike Hudson, Brian Malone, Jamie Smed, Jonas Tom, Jack Emery, Mike Bowman, Kathleen Francis, Matthew Long, Joe Coling, Tara Mullins, Riley Stevens, Burke, and Melissa Bengal. Thank you so much for your support. To learn more on how you can support CST, head on over to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. What'd you say there, Bill?
You missed Matt Imholt.
Matt Imholt.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. You get a special call out because I failed to recognize you. Segment 1, FC Cincinnati draws DC United. All right, guys. I'll throw it to Brad first. FCC fails to score, up a man for most of the game, up 2 men at the end. We'll give him credit. It wasn't very long with the 2 men, so we'll just say a man. Thoughts?
Well, it wasn't quite remember the 9, so thank goodness to that.
Yeah, it was like remember the 10.
Yeah,
for DC.
Yeah, I was on. I want to say was the New York Red Bull discussion group podcast on before this, and I was just kind of saying now, FC Cincinnati is kind of been their own worst enemy. They're just throwing away points, and Bill, you mentioned it early in your schedule, or early in your best and worst, about how FC Cincinnati this was the winnable stretch. Okay,
Yeah.
It was a winnable stretch where we still had a lot of our DPs. Some teams, other teams were missing really, really, really impact players, and I know we were missing Cruz and Matarrita, but this was the opportunity to win a match, another match, up a man at home, and they just failed to deliver. And it's extremely frustrating, and I think a lot of the fans are really upset, especially at Jaap Stam, because this isn't a game in a front office and a coaching staff anymore that gets the benefit of the doubt. They've had these way too often, and we're just dropping way too many points at an incredible rate, and it's just really, really discouraging. I think there were points during the match, that FC Cincinnati did play well. They did create some opportunities, but the finishing wasn't there for whatever reason. And so I think Nate Gilman had a really nice article today talking about how, maybe flip-flopping, Zhao up to instead of right back, maybe put him at right wing instead of left wing, and maybe put Barrial on the left side, and continue to build upon some of the things that we've seen FC Cincinnati look dangerous at. But again, it's just kind of returned to that. It's frustrating. While we've only lost 2 of our 8 matches, we've only won a couple as well. And now you see FC Cincinnati 2 points off the bottom, even though I think they're in 11th place, 2 points off the bottom, with tied for the league worst in goal differential. So really disappointing match, especially where I think this is one where even a half competent team should pull 3 points up, in my opinion.
I'm sitting there with Ken, and I noticed the changes. It's not like Stam didn't make any changes. We saw Hagelin being a third center back, which is what we thought, Ken, at the time, but it turns out he played, right back in that match. And then you saw Joe Zhao move back up the pitch, back in the old days where we originally brought him into play.
Step on the left.
Yeah, when you see those changes, what's in your head there at the start of the game, Ken?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously you're shocked, but actually, I give Stam credit on this because he's trying something new, but it's also sort of screaming something of what we're doing currently is not working. So he has to try something. I'm happy about it, and I say happy that he's trying that. Happy it didn't, or not happy that it didn't work out. I thought Zhao did an admirable job on the wing. I don't think I've sat here and said he wasn't great. He wasn't a failure at all. So I felt it, that part of it was good. We just can't generate anything though in the final third. I mean, I didn't look at our touches in the penalty box, but I don't know how many we got, and were we good enough? I go on and harp back to what Brad said though, is this is the stretch where after the what is it, the Chicago, Toronto, Houston run of 3 games of getting points in a row. And then, we had this whole month of July where teams were missing players for the Gold Cup and whatever other reason, Olympics and so on and so forth. We should be gathering points, and we're not doing any of that. And on top of that, I'm watching teams like Seattle, and I don't want to compare us necessarily to them, but they're rotating players. They're throwing out their high school kids, and they're getting points, and they're getting rest for their players. We're just continually throwing bodies, and we're not getting rest with the current game as well, which is another concern. Is we have this whole bench, and we made 1 sub, was it?
1 sub.
1 sub. And we got a Wednesday game and a Saturday game. I mean, we are wearing these guys out, and we can't go like that. It's just not physically possible for these guys. So,
yeah, it didn't even seem like it was a sub Stam wanted to make. It was like basically Barrial just said, "I'm done." And then
he was hurt.
And then you throw Vasquez in, and it didn't seem like we really had a plan for Vasquez, as we said earlier. It's now you bring in a more of a true 9, who's more of a body in the box. You want to start lobbing balls in and let him put his head on them, and we just stuck to the same plan, and that's not Vasquez's game. I mean, I think people were upset that he didn't do much, and I don't know that he's necessarily our answer, but certainly we didn't play his game, and that's a problem as well. So
the one thing I was going to say, the one thing I give Vasquez that people struggle to accept is that guy finds a way into the right spot. And I mean, he somehow always ends up in the right spot. Why that is
offside.
Well,
he was.
Brad's over there shooting holes in Ken's points.
Okay, I'm just going to shut up now.
No. I do agree, but let's piggyback off this. I think I've just put it in our chat box, but because we're both kind of co-hosting, I think you kind of take the first part of the March to Match Day. I kind of take the second half, so I'll kind of jump in here.
Go for it.
Let's talk about Yapstam. Like, that is the thing I think on everybody's minds. It's taken over social media the last couple of weeks. It is a hot topic issue. Stom in, stop out. Stom in, stop out. Stom out. Both sides have a lot of valid points and arguments. Like, there are a lot of well thought out points and arguments on both sides. I think now you're starting to see some people start to go to the Stom out. So let's talk about it. Why only one sub, Bill? Like,
I mean,
why?
I mean, you have to assume that he doesn't have any faith in his bench, right? I mean, he has players that have all started games. I mean, Atanga, Madunyanin, Castillo, Stanko, even Makocho, for that matter, in the beginning of the season, have all started at one point or another. And, now we're to the point where he doesn't even look at them as a 10 or 15-minute sub coming off the bench. And to me, that says he's done. And he seems to be a coach, and we've seen this, especially with Makocho, right? That once he makes his decision, you're just not going to see that player back. And it took essentially a decimated bench before we saw Makocho back, and obviously that wasn't a great thing for us. But I mean, I think Atanga has shown some glimpses. I think Kimi came on for a little short bit, and showed some glimpses, even in a 3-0 loss at Nashville. So, when you've got players like Barriel out there who are dying and asking to come off, why aren't we putting in a player like them to substitute? I mean, why are we, changing things up? Now, if Stom did that from I want a big guy in the box and I want to change my tactics, fine. But he didn't do that. He basically just threw in the one player that he, I guess, felt he had the most faith in, and it wasn't even a like for like. And then they kind of tried to play sort of the same strategy. It was very strange.
Yeah, why not Kimi or Ben Mines? I mean, those two have just
Ben who?
Yeah, exactly. That guy. I mean, he's got to have talent. I mean, he has talent. I think we've seen it. And we haven't seen it in our games. I'm just saying it's coming.
He's not played.
Yeah.
But hadn't he scored like goals for Red Bull, like more goals than a lot of the players on our team?
That's my point. Let us see it.
Yeah, he had like 3 goals in 5 games or something to that effect. I don't know what it was. Something silly. It's just, but part of it is also what we're sort of criticizing is his rotation. You have to use your whole bench, and without that, you're just running these guys. Come October, what are we going to expect? That's right. I'm a little concerned.
It's a straightforward response, Ken. And Caleb, I think, has got a great question, and it's in our rundown too. Like, Caleb wrote, in my opinion, this game was Stom's big, to the front office. Hopefully, from this game, they can see what we see. No depth off the bench, no valid right back. So, put it in Caleb, different words, but kind of encapsulating what Caleb's saying. Do you think Stom's sending a message to the front office?
I'm not 100% sold. I've seen that theory out there, Caleb. You could be dead right. I like the theory. I'm personally more on the Stom felt like this was his best, and he wanted to give it the full 90. And it just, like, they're either going to score or they're not going to score. And I kind of put this take out on Twitter Friday, and some people agreed. They are the best this team has. If Brenner, Acosta, they can't get it done, and you had Matarrita, who played, I thought, a fabulous game. We finally saw some good pressure out of the back, some great long balls pass through, and it just wasn't enough. And I think Stom was just prove it. But that does bug me a little bit, because I think in the 80th minute you can throw the young guys in it and prove a point to the Brenners of the world that maybe your job isn't always safe, even though you get millions and millions of dollars.
I mean, to a little bit of a point, though, I mean, Stom is paid to work with a team, okay? And he's got to get production out of these guys. That's his freaking job. Like, imagine if I just said, no, I'm not going to sell X, Y, and Z today. I'm only going to sell this. I mean, it's only going to work for so long before something goes wrong. So all of a sudden, what's going to happen is, like Ken said, somebody's going to get hurt, and these guys haven't played all year. No chemistry, no familiarity, no nothing. And he's not even making attempts to play these guys. I mean, I know Stanko and Medellin and Tonga have gotten starts lately, but like, we have not seen at least opportunities for these guys to come off the bench. And Ken mentioned, we're playing midweek games. You cannot run these guys out 90 minutes week in, week out. Alan Koch always used to say red, yellow, green health zones. And like, I feel like, especially watching that Nashville game, like everybody had to have been yellow to red. Like they just looked done. And
are we quoting Alan Koch?
I liked Alan. He was a nice guy. I just don't think he was necessarily, on the tactic side, whatever. But I do think that's a massive point. Like he's missing that. But I also wonder a little bit, like, you guys ever seen the movie Moneyball?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you remember Art Howe in the beginning of the year? It was like I don't know, the Athletics weren't doing well, and Brad Pitt's whatever character goes in, and Art Howe goes, I manage a team the way I want to run this team. And Jim kind of goes in there, and then he says, you know what, I'm going to manage this team how I can manage it for job interviews next season. Now, I'm not saying that's what Jaap Stom's doing, but damn it, like, I almost feel a little bit like that's what he's trying to do here. Like, I'm not seeing enough ideas out of his mind, and I think he's just trying to run his best players like out there. He doesn't care about anything else other than like just maybe not getting embarrassed. And so what he can do is he's just going to run these guys out here time and time again, and then when the team doesn't perform, in his interviews next year, he can go, I didn't have any bench, I didn't have any depth. Well, you won't even know, because you won't even give him a shot. Now, he's going to counter back and say, you don't get to go to practice, Brad. You don't get to see him. But damn it, like, Tata Martino missed Miles Robinson, who won the game against him last night. You've got to give these guys opportunities. And if he's going to be here long term, he's going to have to play young players, and he's not. So I cannot believe he's not rotating the squad at all, or even running a Tonga out there, Makoto. It's just ridiculous to me.
So, really, I was going to say, bringing up the money ball, though, is Gerard Nykamp's job to go down to Stom and go, in the movie Moneyball, they go, play so-and-so at first base. And he's like, he kept saying, you're going to play so-and-so at first base. And Gerard Nykamp maybe needs to go down and go, you're going to play Ben Mines 30 minutes today. I don't care what you do, but you're going to play Ben Mines 30 minutes. I mean, I don't know what the plan is, but that was sort of the way Moneyball played out, how well that was in real life. I'm just saying there is a give and take, and these two do not feel like they are on the same playing field, aligned at all. So it is a little confusing with what's going on, because you don't have 30 guys or whatever, 27 guys on a roster and use 13 for 34 games a season. It will not work. We all know that.
Yeah, I don't know that I see a big conspiracy here where he's trying to send a message. I could be wrong, but I mean, to me, it just feels like he just doesn't have faith in that bench. He's willing to put him out there if we're like losing 3-0. Like, okay, well, we're down 3-0. Kimi can't hurt anything, so we'll send him out there. And if we were up, then you can start to see him making some subs as well. But in general, what I see is a lot of times he's trying to win the game, and it just seems like he's just reluctant to pull people off the field. So he just pushes them and pushes them, and thinking Barriel's my best, Brenner's my best, Acosta's my best. I'm just going to leave everyone out there, and they have to do it.
Guys are missing the key point. He really did try to make another sub. He leaned back and he said, "Hey, Hagelin," and he forgot Hagelin was already in the game. He started this time, so he couldn't make his usual default sub.
Right. So he did Vasquez instead.
Yeah.
I'm just a little bit worried that he's pushed all of his buttons he can push, and now he doesn't have any answers except continue to run the same guys out there, or hopefully he gets new reinforcements by Thursday. And honestly, like, I think that's what we need to start analyzing over the next 3 or 4 matches. Now, I'm not saying he is or will or won't make it through the end of this year, but you know what? To me, if a coach shows maybe he's out of ideas, or his last gasp ideas, kind of like Hagelin at right back and Zhao out of wing, even though you've been playing him as your right back all year, that to me kind of shows like that's almost like a last gasp idea. And if that doesn't work, what else is going to happen? And so I think we need to start seeing and evaluating him over the next 3 matches or so if it's going to work long term.
I think he's got more runway than we think, honestly. I think he's got the year. Unless he goes and drops some huge, terrible result, then I think fans will scream from the mountaintops. But I'm not sold.
Come on, Boston. I mean, let's talk about terrible results, right? I mean, in the last 4 games, right, we were either up a goal or 2 goals, or even up by a man or 2. We got 3 points.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, 5 games, I guess, because count Nashville in there as a 0. But yeah, we got like 3 points where we should have had 12. Could have lost to Nashville.
But he's not dropping 5-0, 7-0 the last 2-year FCC results.
You're right. I mean, we are improving, but we are still essentially in last place.
All right, so we have 2 matches this week. We've got Wednesday versus New York Red Bulls and Orlando City at home this weekend.
Orlando, that's an easy win, right?
Yeah. they're like the second best team in Major League Soccer right now.
Exactly.
So we've warned.
And they get Daryl DK back.
Yeah,
wonderful news.
Everybody, we missed the easy part of our schedule. I think you guys already covered that. We missed the part where Columbus has players out on international duty. DC's got players out on international duties. We got ours back. We clearly had the better players for this game. We blew it. But how do you play Wednesday in Orlando? Because you've exhausted your starting 11. So where are you going, Brad?
At Red Bulls. So I'm going to start the first player who knows how to take a professional foul on Frankie Amaya. Then
Stanko.
Yes, so Stanko's
I forgot about that.
First professional foul against Amaya. Actually, he's not even playing, so I don't think he's going to play this. We'll see. You've got to rotate these guys. Now, I know there's a 11-day break in between Saturday and then the following, I want to say Wednesday's match. That was 10 or 11 days later or whatnot. But you've got to start rotating these guys. Makoto's got to get a run out somehow. I don't mind Medine. Like, I would have loved to have seen Medine in off the bench this week. And maybe throw him deep and let him just ping balls over the top. Let him create some gaps. Let him create some space for our guys to run in on. Just create a different look. Yeah, the team's not perfect. I understand that, but you've got to start rotating guys. Give Kimi a chance. Yep. I know we're a little bit limited on week, but maybe throw Vasquez in up top. Brenner's been playing, I want to say, almost 90 minutes every match. The kid looks tired. Yep. Put Vasquez in. You got to start rotating these guys. It is going to be hot the next month and a half.
And the touches and the passes are getting sloppy.
We're going to play a ton of matches. I want to say it's something like, 10 or 11 matches in the next month and a half. We've got to start rotating the squad, or the guys are going to get hurt, and they're going to get hurt long term, and it's not good.
Yeah, fresh legs will end up beating out better talent at some point in time. I mean, I don't care how good you are, you cannot run forever. And when you're starting off a game 2/3, 70% of a tank, you're no good. You're all of a sudden you're playing from behind from the get-go, and you only have 15, 20 minutes of good play in you. And we saw that in Nashville. That's literally what was happening in Nashville. And I'm like, what are we doing here at this point in time?
So what happens to you when you get tired, right? I mean, a player goes out there, he starts off fresh, and he's having a great game. As he gets tired, right, he's going to have problems connecting the passes. He's going to have problems trapping the ball. He's going to have problems, shooting and putting the ball into positions he expects, right? So all of these things are going to start to happen. He's going to start to draw more fouls because he's going to be sloppy. We're beginning games like that now. right? I mean, this is why we don't score a goal against DC United. It's not because we didn't have some opportunities, but our touches are off, our passing is off, our final touch isn't there because our guys are fatigued at this point. I mean, it's already happened. Nashville, they came out flat. DC, they tried, but they just, they need some rest.
Yeah, I think Joe was a Pipitone? Joseph, good call. Joseph has a great line here. It says, September will be losing a lot of players for World Cup qualifiers this year too. Depth will be key. I'm thinking Cruz, thinking Moderita. That is huge. The World Cup qualifiers are going to become fast and furious. But think of the U.S. men's national team this weekend beat Mexico 1-0. It was awesome. And Greg Berhalter rotated his squad all the time. And you could see it in that final, especially the second half and into extra time. You could see the U.S., while they might not be the most talented team, I don't believe, man for man, they were more talented than Mexico, but they were fresh. And I think that's what won them the game. So I was listening to MLS Extra Time Radio, and Kalen Carr was on this week, and he was literally preaching about squad rotation and making sure you keep your players fresh. And that's what's going to, earn you points. And I'm really worried that FC Cincinnati just busted our guys out on the easy part of the schedule, and we got just a couple points, a handful of points. And now we're starting to play the top of the conference, and we're tired, and it's going to be hot in August and September. And I'm really, really worried about that. And so when I hear a coach go, well, I don't have depth. Well, buddy, you could play other players. You've got to give them opportunities.
Yeah. We've talked a lot about, and Brad, you set me up perfectly for US Mexico, but I'm not going to take it. We've talked a lot about the faults. And then you've got Coach Goff over on his show talking about some positives because he's an eternal optimist. But here's the thing. While I disagree with Coach on a lot of things, he's not wrong in that Bill mentioned it earlier. We are better than last year, even though we only have 3 wins after 15 games. Knifey Lion Radio put out a great tweet about this. 3 game wins every season after. 3 wins after 15 games. Every single season we've been in Major League Soccer. We've got more draws now. We look a lot better on the field. We're not giving up countless goals, aside from that weird Montreal game. What's different that's better? And is it just coaching? Is it talent? Like, what here's, I guess I should rephrase this because I'm being a little confusing. What blows my mind is that we are better. You can look at the field, you can say these guys are better, FC Cincinnati's better, then you can look at the record and go, wait a minute. What do you think?
I mean, $20 million in transfer fees and new signings will make you look better. I think the biggest question is the front office and coaching staff who've bought and put some of these roster together doing enough to maximize this roster, or is it kind of what we kind of called 2018 FC Cincinnati? Throw the most expensive team on the field and hope you get results.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's what Ken's been talking about since November. It just doesn't make sense how some of this stuff's been lined up. But, Lucho Costa is a really good player. Brenner, there's talent. If you look year over year, just on the eye test alone, yes, they are getting better. But I don't think it's the coach or the front office making them better. They're just barely doing the basics right. And I just don't think it's really that much in a high level of competency. I just really don't.
And what's the saying of a coach? A good coach makes you 10% better. A bad coach makes you 30% worse. Kind of, I think that's the saying. I might have that wrong, but you get the idea of. And the question is where does Tom fall on that spectrum? And I don't know that he is a net positive per se. I think players like to play for him, but I can tell you this: I watched Lucho with like eagle eyes this game, and he gets frustrated. And I mean, I think he's getting a little annoyed at this point. I mean, you could see connections at points in time, but I just think he's getting tired of not having a plan in that final third. And there's players not going where he wants. And I'm not saying he's right. It's just body language says a lot. And I think we're at a point in the season where players might feel differently in 5 games. like you said, Brad, let's watch the next 3 to 4 games and see what happens.
So where are you guys at on Stom to close out the segment? If you had to make a decision today, you giving him the next 3 games? You giving him the season? You cutting him loose and going to fight Atlanta for Portland's coach?
I give him the season, but I'm almost at the point of where I make a decision of looking for somebody new. I'll be honest. Am I Stom out? He could maybe make a big statement the second half. I just don't see it. It needs to show up on the pitch.
Yeah, I'll let Bill finish it after I do. I think I'm more leaning towards Stom out. But I think with all the things we've said about how my issues with him, I still also do think he's getting a little bit of a bad rap. This roster construction was poor, and the fact that you don't have a left winger at all, like a real left winger, I think he wasn't set up for success, but I also don't think he's making the team better. So I'm leaning towards Stom out, but I'm definitely leaning towards Gerard out.
Bill,
I think that's our main problem.
Bill, do you want to pass?
No, I'm okay to speak. I don't know why I'd need a pass. I think I hate instability and the fact that we've been rotating like a revolving door in this club. And it certainly isn't a good look, and it certainly isn't something that you would think would attract people. But I don't know that I'm necessarily like completely done with Stom at this point. I do think that we're getting ready to go up against some better teams. And what may be looking as shaky may look really, really bad in 3 or 4 more games. I think the one thing that's going on right now is that the fan base itself, they were happy to be in the MLS in 2019. They tolerated some performance issues in 2020 because of, I think, COVID and the bizarre world that we were in. But here we are in year 3, and the results aren't really different. And I think this is where the new stadium certainly has given us a bump, but it's not lasting. And I think this club is burning up a lot of the equity that they have earned over the last 5 years. And I think that that's starting to run short. And I think that depending on how things go, even though I don't like instability, I think if we turn out 0 points over the next 4 games and have at least one devastating loss, the fans are going to be pretty unhappy. We'll be back at the bottom of the table most likely. And I think maybe you have to make a statement. I think maybe you have to come out. I think I'm a little bit with Brad, though, that I don't know that this is all Stom's fault. I think the other thing we need to look at is we have about 3 more days from when we're recording this in the transfer window. If we don't see a move, if we don't see something that gives, Stom a bench, then I feel like Gerard really hasn't done what he needs to do either. And maybe that's actually the first move before, the next transfer window that comes around in the winter.
Hey, that's a good transition. 3 days. We've heard rumors, possible signings. Any credence to that we've shipped out some players?
We're making room.
Brad opened the show with one. We see his T-tip. Pedersen's gone. There was rumor this week about, that was today, of Teton possibly leaving. Laurel kind of put her foot down and closed that one off as far as he's still here. So if you did see that today, I wouldn't bank on Teton leaving quite yet. What do you think?
He can leave even after the transfer window because it's just for registering players here.
Yeah.
But that kind of makes sense. He would maybe leave to go to Poland because his contract ends in 2021. But he's got a green card. I think it would be more contract relief than anything. But Franko Kovacevic's loan's been terminated. That was another one.
Yep.
So we have what? How many roster spots available?
2.
2?
3. We got 3, but if Michael Vanderwerf comes back, we'll have 2.
2, yeah.
And then we've got 2 international spots available, but we'll need one of those if we get Calvin Harris back.
All right. Well, keep your eyes on CST. We will be sure to bring up any transfer news we find out about. But we have to talk about it, guys. Stolen from Map Free Stadium, Columbus, Lower Field, whatever you want to call it, U.S. Mexico. Man, that's huge. Brad, you took me to my first ever United States game. It was U.S. Mexico. It was in Columbus.
I remember that.
We
You
lost.
disappeared on us.
You
We were
probably
a
should have
ghost.
took me.
Just walks away from people. Comes back 20 minutes later, grabs a beer, walks away again.
What does it mean, though, for you, man? Have it in Cincinnati.
It's incredible. I mean, if you think about it, this is the biggest game that can be held in a non-NFL stadium. Okay, you think about the biggest games are the Gold Cup Finals, the
This
Nations
game
League
was
Finals,
just an NFL
and this
stadium.
is it. Yeah, but this is the World Cup qualifier, and they're not going to host this game at a disadvantage to the U.S. I mean, you saw the Gold Cup Sunday night. It was a home game for Mexico, even though it was in Las Vegas. But I think it's a huge credence to the Cincinnati front office as far as like the ownership group. I think it's a big, thing to Jeff Birding and Carl Lindner. I think it's massive to FC Cincinnati fans because you think about it. If you would have asked anybody 7 years ago, oh yeah, in 2021, this game is going to be in Cincinnati, we'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? But U.S. Soccer wants this here. They put this game where they think it's going to be filled, it's going to be loud. They know we're not going to just sell tickets at random to Mexican fans. We're not going to. It's going to be a home field environment. It's just going to, I'm so pumped up for this game. Clifford Adams, huge. I already bought my hotel room downtown that weekend. I'm going down, I'm partying, I'm staying out. I'm going to meet with people from all over this country. I just cannot wait for it. And it's going to be incredible. It's going to be the third time, we beat Mexico this year, and hopefully to God, it's not just the first win at TQL Stadium, but you never know.
It'll be my 3rd season ticket that I buy this year because that's how much it'll cost to get it.
If we don't win the lottery, it's going to be expensive for those of us. But you're right. I'm not missing it. Like, there's no way. I will pay whatever I have to pay, and so is half of Cincinnati, so it's going to be ridiculous. But yeah, if you're not lucky enough to win the lottery, it's still probably worth it to dig deep. I'm gonna be rummaging through couch cushions trying to find money for this game.
I'm gonna be rubbing elbows with Jeff Birding and Carl Lindner. Hey, give me a little,
Ken, I think you overvalue yourself.
I know, I do.
Bill, do you think they'll let you in Drummond for the U.S. game?
I'm going to try. So I've certainly drummed at the last 2 U.S. games that we've had in Nippert, in Cincinnati. And obviously, for people who've been paying attention to the landscape, AO, American Outlaws, the supporters group for the U.S. national teams, has kind of birthed itself here in Cincinnati and started to become active again, or at least more visible and loud. And that's awesome. They have a new home bar for games. And I think, we'll see. We're already started some discussions with them to try to see what we can do to lend them a hand. Obviously, they need drums and they need capos and they need maybe a tifo, and we know how to do that stuff. So I hope that comes to fruition and we can lend a hand and do this the Cincinnati way.
I like David's question here. We know Cincinnati's. I mean, I hate to ruin a moment. We're going to come back to it, but we know Cincinnati's on the short list for a World Cup game. This is a World Cup qualifier. It's in TQL Stadium. This is not the game that Cincinnati's been pushing for, which is in Paul Brown Stadium, and it could be anything. It may not even be the United States. It could be any kind of World Cup game in 2026. Is this a test, though? Do you think FIFA's watching, or is this just?
I think that's kind of. Those are 2 different playing fields. I mean,
I think so.
You don't think one impacts the other? Is giving us a world qualifier of the bone because we're not getting the World Cup game?
If we were bad at the World Cup qualifier, we're definitely not getting the World Cup. But I mean, I think it's just 2 different worlds. It really is. I mean,
if we come out with a 15 drums and a very loud supporter section and a great tifo, and then they bring us, two teams that aren't the U.S., you're not going to get that, right? I mean, at least from Cincinnati. So I'm not sure that what we sell for Cincinnati here for this game is what we're trying to sell for Cincinnati in a World Cup qualifier. We're just trying to say we just love soccer and we can host it, an international event and have people come stay at hotels and eat. Anyway, go ahead, Brad.
You both are very smart and both people that I genuinely look up to and respect, but I completely disagree here.
You're wrong.
I think this is FC Cincinnati's big opportunity to show off for FIFA. I really do. What FC Cincinnati needs to do is for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that week, shut down Fountain Square, the banks, or Central Parkway, do something. Do like a little village. Make this like a little cool village. Have parties Wednesday, Thursday, before the game. Shut streets down. Maybe it's Washington Park. Show we can throw a massive event and get people to be like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like. It's not supposed to be like just tailgating with a couple of our friends in Columbus Crew's Matt Frey Stadium's parking lot. This, I think, is an opportunity to go, wow, throw a massive party and get 10,000 people down to Washington Park Thursday night leading up to the game. Shoot fireworks off outside of Mexico's hotel or whatever it is. We have an opportunity in our hands to show off to the world that this place is crazy, and we need to make it just like we did in USL, where it was a must-see event, and then everybody looks at it and goes, wow, damn, that march looks cool. We need to do that. We need to go to Cincinnati. We need to make sure they're a part of this. So I think it is an opportunity for us, even though it's in November, to show off and do it right. I bet Jeff Birding's listening. I bet he's going to do that. Or maybe somebody in FC Cincinnati Lane's like, damn, it's a pretty good idea, Brad. Thank you. I got plenty of them. But yeah, it's a great opportunity. And I think take advantage of it. Do it big. Why not?
Yeah, I think there'll be some big wigs there, Brad, for sure, because even watching the Gold Cup last night, they spun it, and there was the president of FIFA was there at that match, along with the head of CONCACAF. So I think you're going to have some big wigs sitting next to Carl Linder up there in a box somewhere. It is a stage. I'm not sure if it's the stage that gets you the World Cup game, but I think it is a stage. And a lot of people will be watching it. The nation soccer fans will be watching this match. Columbus fans are going to be watching this match, waiting for Bill just to beat his drum one wrong step so they can tear him apart on Twitter.
Yeah, like Bjorn.
Exactly, like Bjorn. What about the Columbus fans, man, coming out of the woodwork? You would have thought they invented the U.S.-Mexico game. Does it belong in Columbus? Is it their birthright?
No. I'm just going to be short. Why should no? It belongs in Ohio. That's all. The southern part, to be exact. It's right where it needs to be at this point in time, and I think we'll show that. So, screw Columbus. It's that simple. I don't think it's nobody's birthright.
I don't even think it's our birthright. I don't think it's an Ohio thing.
I know. I'm being sarcastic too. I'm just saying they chose Ohio in these stadiums because, as Brad brings up, we can pack the house. It's going to be a pro-American fan base there, and the stadium size is sort of perfect for U.S. soccer. So that's who's lining this up. So we do right, and we win dose of zero here. It'll come back. There's some superstition to that, probably.
Yeah. I mean, the last match was weird circumstances back in 2016. It was November 2016. It was really weird. Just weird environment at that time. Just felt different. But I think U.S. Soccer more learned their lesson at the Costa Rica match, home match at Red Bull Arena, where we got thumped, and it was a decidedly pro-Costa Rican crowd in New York City. Mm-hmm. And so I think U.S. Soccer learned, and you watch us. It is going to literally be, they're going to rotate all the 4 big games between Minnesota, Nashville, Columbus, and Cincinnati. And then I think you're going to get outliers like Austin, San Jose, Real Salt Lake, Sporting Kansas City, because I think it's a little bit smaller. And then you're going to see maybe the winters and the friendlies and stuff, Orlando and Florida. But I think you're going to get the games that matter, where they know people aren't going to sell the seats, and maybe those 4 big cities. And I bet you just watch. I think in 15 years from now, those 4 cities will be the prime home for U.S. men's and women's soccer.
Yeah, and I think it's, lower.com, new stadium, Crew Stadium, the old Mopfre or whatever we want to call it, retired. TQL Stadium, new stadiums coming out. So, it was an opportunity to revisit, right? And sometimes it's not really about whether you've done something right or wrong. It's just a matter of, this is a moment in time where somebody wants to rethink, whether or not this is like, if your TV breaks down and you've always used Samsung, right? Well, are you going to just get another Samsung? No, your TV broke. You're going to take a moment and maybe look at what's out there, right? So this is a moment where, lower.com is the new opportunity, but what else is there? And there's a shiny little gem down in Cincinnati called TQL, and it holds 6,000 more people. So why not?
Well, I kind of want to end this show on a happy note. I like this. I like the transition to something good has happened. Cincinnati fans deserve something good. And so I hope you guys celebrate this UX Mexico game. I hope you go down. Even if we are unfortunate enough, those of us who don't get tickets, and there's going to be some of us that don't get them. It's just the stadium only holds 26,000 people. If I don't get tickets, I am going down and I am partying all freaking day. I don't care. I'll watch the game at a bar. I'll watch it on a giant screen outside the stadium, whatever they do. Make this your moment. Whether you're in the stadium or out of the stadium, let's party. Let's show the world we love soccer. We know how to do it in right in Cincinnati. We may not have a winning team right now, but we still know how to freaking party and support a team. Mm-hmm. And we'll be on the world stage.
Yeah, we need to have a big screen at like Washington Park where people can watch it. And then maybe everybody can just march to the stadium, even if they're not going to go in, and then just walk back to Washington Park and watch the game. We can have even a more big party before we get in there.
That's right. If it's big enough, I might even wish I was out there than in there. Just kidding. Yeah. But let's get your final thoughts real quick. I think Brad has to go down to Louisville, so I'm going to real quick get his final thoughts.
Lexington, yeah. My wife's flight got canceled just about 2 hours ago, so now I've got a 2-hour drive ahead of me to the Lexington airport, so I'll be quick. Boston, thank you for doing this. Looking forward to you being with you tomorrow night on March to Match Day. We're going to have some of the Orlando Lions Den guys on to preview this weekend's match. So still big things ahead. It's going to be interesting next couple weeks in FC Cincinnati land. I'm looking forward to see what new signings come in, how the team performs once they get on board. Again, I'm still ultimately bullish on the club. I just want to see some results, baby. That's it.
Ken, give me your final thoughts, bud. My seat buddy who never sits with me.
I guess I want to echo Brad's words. It does seem all gloom and doom right now, but we're all bullish on the club. We all wanted to win, and yes, let's see what the next 3 or 2 or 1 signings come in, and let's hope for the best. So that's it. I'll keep it short and simple.
All right. The most photogenic of all of us. He's in half the pictures we get from Jeremy Miller. Bill Wolf, final thoughts.
I'm also a drinking game for Subs. So anyway, I think we've talked about the transfer window, everybody here during the show and even at the end. I think that's kind of my thought as well. We've heard Gerard, we've heard Birding, we've heard other people at the club mention that, you don't just necessarily bring people in, you have to kind of move people out. We've seen some people leaving. We've seen rumors of people leaving, whether that be true or not, but it does seem like this club is working on something. So whether or not it actually comes to fruition or not, that we'll wait to see, but it does appear that they have made some room. There is spots available. You would think that would indicate that we would be seeing players coming in. So let's hope that in the next few days, all of this becomes sort of obvious to us. And perhaps maybe in the end, that's why we didn't see some of the substitutions. It may be that, we'll see more moves, and maybe Yop had an understanding that certain players just aren't going to be playing much anymore. So
if you listen to March to Match Day, we like a clean, short, nicely wrapped up show. We're giving you that here tonight, in and out in an hour. What does Nick Suberling do? He makes you listen to that extra 20 minutes. We're chopping that off. Just going the pure 60 minutes. We appreciate you for listening to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Check out our website this week. We're going to have all kinds of great content. If you stayed listening this long, I've got a small treat for you. It's probably untrue and unverified, but I do have a text on my phone. And since Nick Suberling isn't here to make me source stuff correctly, it says Las Vegas will be getting a MLS team announced in 2 weeks. What do you think about that? Hey, I tell you what, if that comes true, you heard it here on CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. That's a big if. A big if. I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure I believe this text, but I did get a text. So that's
CST
cool.
Spy Network, baby, in action. In action.
So, Boston, what word are you going to have listeners give for a review?
Oh, yeah. If you want Subs' bribe.
Subs out. No.
What does he give away? He gives away
T-shirt.
t-shirts. Right?
T-shirts, yeah.
All right. If you want to win Subs' bribe network t-shirts, I need you to go out there and say, I listened to March to Match Day. And you actually have to give me a good, honest review. Are Boston and Brad better hosts on the main show or on March to Match Day? You got to listen to them both and then review. So March to Match Day will be out what, Wednesday, Brad?
It'll be out sometime, probably Thursday.
Yeah. So in your review, let us know. It's not a word. It's really just a review. So Nick Sieberling knows what to do with this.
I'm sure he knows what to do with you.
You want to give us an onward?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, CSTers, thank you for listening to the latest episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk and onward to 3 Points Wednesday in New York for Cincinnati. Peace.